Hello and welcome everyone to this Otago Southland Area Pony Club discussion on the proposed changes to the New Zealand Pony Club Constitution. I think most of you on here know who I am. For those who don't, I'm Charlotte Young. I'm the area president. And I want to also welcome my fellow committee members. Tonight's meeting isn't all about me. It's also really good to see so many people from our clubs being represented, and also a welcome to, I see a member from Ashburton, South Canterbury, North Otago, and also Nelson, so welcome. The area committee have called for this meeting mainly just to inform our membership regarding the constitutional updates that are underway. The Incorporated Societies Act has meant that we have to upgrade, or sorry, NZPCA has to upgrade the national constitution to be compliant with the Act. I guess there is an opportunity to make change. I don't think we should shy away from change, but I think that we need to have good, robust conversations about that change and how it impacts Pony Club going forward. Needless to say, Pony Club is a democracy. I'm not going to give you an opinion tonight or give you my opinion. I think it's important that everyone is as informed as possible, that we have robust debate and that we move forward with an idea of confidence about what we're voting on and what we think for our area. Now, I will say this is very focused on Otago Southland. I believe that our area has quite unique issues that we manage. We are a third of the South Island for a start off. You can see we're quite big. We're big geographically, and we're also big in membership. We have around the third or fourth highest membership for an area in New Zealand. So we're big in area and we're big in membership. So we have 7 clubs in our area. We have Central Otago, Northern Southland, Southland, Eastern Southland, South Otago, Taieri, and Dunedin District. So that's 7 clubs, and you can see that we are all fairly evenly spread around our area. Right, our branches. So obviously under our clubs we have many branches. In fact, I think we have 27 branches. Now, not all of the branches that come up on this slide are still functioning, but they are listed on Nominate. So if you have a look at, say, Central Otago, because that's come up, we've got Clyde, Cromwell, Hawea, Wanaka, Maniatoto, and Wakatipu. It's quite interesting. I guess as a rural area, a lot of our branches are actually quite isolated from each other. We might not think of Hawea, Wanaka as being that far away from Queenstown or Cromwell, but it is actually a reasonable distance. So, and certainly Maniatoto is quite isolated. So those clubs come together, or those branches come together to make up that club. It's very unlikely that riders would move around those branches because they are unique to their communities. Probably Dunedin District is different in the fact that we're much closer together. Driving distance is often quite close. I can drive, for example, 10 minutes in 3 directions and find 3 branches just from where I live. Yeah. So parts of us are quite close together. Parts of us are very spread. Nice. Yeah. So that once again shows our spread and many, many branches. So yeah. The numbers are interesting. Now I'll put a disclaimer up right now. These memberships will be within 5 or 10. This is what came off Nominate's database. So we have Central Otago, obviously, is our biggest club with 240 members. Our second biggest club is Southland with 170. And we're made up pretty much of a spread. I think what is really important, you can see Northern Southland has quite a low membership, as does South Otago, who is now a club without branches. I think what is really important over the 45 years I've spent in Pony Club is that these numbers change. So from time to time, Southland can become very strong, or Eastern has been very strong, Dunedin, etc. And it all goes in cycles. There's no doubt that the Central Otago region is growing. It is growing certainly by population, which is great. Yeah. So I think it's important to have a look at our membership and our spread, because when we start looking at the proposed, what might happen to us into the future, it's always good to have a look at perhaps where our membership sit at the moment and where they might be made up of. Right. So I'm sorry, a lot of you will know all of this, but sometimes it's always good to go over it again. I know that many of you who are on this call of 36 now have probably sat on committees, but just as a reminder, what does Otago Southland area do? Well, we raise funds to send coaches and delegates to conferences. We raise funds for teams and team rep riders. And the executive committee receive and manage complaints. So that's what they do. Yeah.
Supposedly.
We hold 4 meetings a year. So interestingly, I have heard that there is concern at head office that we attend too many meetings and there's too much going on. I'll leave that up to current members and past members to decide how onerous they found the meetings at area. We hold 4 meetings a year. 2 of those are in person, which include the AGM, and 2 meetings are held via Zoom. I think what makes area quite straightforward from my point of view as the president is that we have 5 amazing subcommittees. So we have dressage, eventing, games, show jumping, and training. And these committees go away and work on their projects in their area. And then they come back to our area meeting with reports. So the report is read at that meeting and tabled. And really, we don't need the whole committee there. We actually really just need a representative there. And sometimes, for one reason or another, we don't even have a representative. We just have their report. So these committees are away doing great work out in our area. So we'll just move on to the next. That's it. So dressage. So what did the dressage committee do at area? They run Otago Southland dressage champs. Some of you may be familiar with that competition. Select and support area teams and squad riders, and host an area dressage camp. So our eventing committee, I mean, there's only 2 lines there, but I can tell you they do great work. So they are responsible for selecting and supporting our area eventing team and squad riders, which is happening right at this minute, and host an area eventing camp and training. Games are busy. They run zone games and also OMR games, which is the Otago Mounted Rifles. Select and support area teams, administer the Otago Southland area games trailer and equipment. So we have a games trailer which is loaded up with all the current equipment, which can travel around our area and support our many games riders. Okay, show jumping. The show jumping committee oversees the area teams, show jumping champs, select and support area teams for Champs Week, and select and support the Otago Southland team riders attending for Horse of the Year. Not that there are many, but it's still an administrative role that needs to be done. Okay, the training committee. The training committee hold the Otago Southland Area Development Camp that's been running now 8 years. We organise, because I'm on that committee, we organised and host coaches clinics. We run 2 of those a year. And it's worth mentioning that we have put 45 coaches through a D and D plus /C course over the last 12 months. That's pretty impressive. We support members through ECTP, which is the coach training program. Hold and administer the Inter-Pacific exchange trials and present those area reps to head office. We support and upskill our senior examiners, of which there are 9 spread throughout our area, and we run assessments for A&H riders. So that's the training committee. So that's what area does. And I will qualify by saying those committees do that work and report back to area. So often those committees are having meetings via Zoom or at events. Sometimes they'll have a meeting there instead. What do clubs do? So the clubs, that's Tyree, Dunedin, Central Otago, etc. So the club's role is to run events, so one-day events, gymkhanas, inter-schools, and those events that aren't branch-level events. Host or coordinate senior exams for their senior riders, so that's C+ and B. And some clubs organise, like Central, run a camp, and some clubs run combined rallies. Clubs also raise funds for sending coaches and delegates to conferences. And so that's what the club does. I think that's the last slide, isn't it, Megan? Look, the proposal, for those of you who have had a chance to read and the proposed constitution and have been on the webinars, is that New Zealand Pony Club will be restructured into a 3-tier level organisation. So your branches will remain the same. The next level up, which is your clubs and your areas, will will go and be replaced with what they are terming as a cluster. And that will run a certain number of branches, which I'm sorry, we don't know what that will look like. And then there will be the board and the management committees under the board. So essentially, those two layers, your club layer, your area layer will be replaced and become a cluster. So that's the proposal. We won't go on to the timeline just yet, but there is a timeline. I have had some people ask to speak. As I said, I'm not going to give you my opinion, and I don't think that your area committee can actually tell you what to think. I think if you have questions, that here is a really good place to present those. And we will do our best to make sure that everyone has a voice and that everyone can put their point of view across or ask questions. So, Megan, are you able to take that slide down? Because the first speaker who was asked to speak is Diane Bell, and we'll just allow her to come up onto the screen. Diane Bell, for those of you who don't know her, which would be very few of you, I would think, is a member of Southland.
I'm losing you, Charlotte.
You're there, Diane? Okay. So
anyway, I agree.
Diane.
I agree that change and updating documents can be a good thing, but also think that sometimes it is unnecessary. I understand that the current constitution needs to be updated to comply with the incorporated body's new rules, but I believe there should be an alternative proposal in PCA suggested with minimum requirements without the complete restructuring of our organisation. Currently, our club level, which perhaps should be as districts, like you have district commissioners, this level organise gymkhanas, ODEs and other competitions. Without this level, our riders miss out, as I cannot those levels with those organising those comps. The area level has separate committees that organise area for dressage, show and games. Without areas, riders will miss out. Without these committees, I cannot see these competitions continuing. Without areas, the event and Champs Week, which has really only just been going now for 4 years, so it's only recent. Again, these riders miss out because they're not going to get the chance to represent their teams. Give them the chance to make with others, how to look after their horses while away from home. They develop team pride and camaraderie and being part of a team. And when I was part of the Southern team, that was the biggest thing, of being part of that team and having the chance to represent my area. That was huge. And I just think that would be a huge pity if that didn't continue, to give those riders the chance to be able to do that. And that finishes my 2 minutes.
Thank you, Diane. And once again, I'd just like to say, I think this is a safe forum and people are allowed to have their opinion and can speak their mind. And thank you, Diane. I appreciate that. Next, we have Leah Wilson from Dunedin District, who has asked to have her say. You'll need to unmute.
Yep, there we go. Can you hear me? I just wanted to express a few concerns I've got. Also, I do agree with Diane in regards to, did we actually need to restructure? I know we need a new constitution, but not sure that the restructure, I think it surprised quite a few people that this came. I know that this is meant to be a consultation process, but it kind of feels that it's already been decided by the wording and what they say. And I've got kind of a list of things here. Determines the cluster as well and what it's going to look like. And the same concerns that most people have in regards to champs. They say we can still compete for, like in the wording, they in some of the questions I read, their reasoning was that they say that we can still compete for our area or our home region while they're taking the area away. So I'm not quite sure how they can say we can still compete for our area. And also, I know that the branches are to stay the same, but if they're restructuring and we're changing from being called a branch to a club, then that is a change. So legally, are we protected to be staying the same? So if they're changing our name, what happens to our branches, assets and finances and committees? Is there a bit of a, I'm not a lawyer, so I have no idea, but is there a bit of a loophole with that being changed as to, if you kind of get what I'm trying to say there? Yeah, like they are changing essentially our name. So is there going to be a change in that as well? So and I think it's already been raised what funds and assets districts. All that's of concerns.
Thank you, Leah. Very good points. And I will say that I feel like I've been on the phone for the last week, fielding calls from many, many people, and so it's good to hear these views out in the open. Sometimes you might think you're the only one that have these views, so it is good to hear the feedback. So thank you, Leah. Now, I see Moira Johnson is online here. Moira, I believe you have some things you would like to add. Moira is from Tyree District.
I can do. So I guess main concern is that third, we run all of our championship events, all of our, we coordinate all of our calendar. We also divvy up the grants so that every discipline gets a chance to apply and not be turned down all the disciplines same grants. And I guess one of the reasons my stayed in Pony Club a lot older, and one of them there, is just because of the chance to represent your area and to be a part of. Now, those teams that they met within those teams and now friends. I guess scared that if we lose area funding for teams, then it will become a sport that only those that can afford to do will do. I'm worried about grassroots level if we lose our camp and our coaching, the support that our coaches get through it. I'm not really sure about how we manage it in clusters. If we were to go into separate clusters and still want to run these events, there is no framework for those clusters to get together and organise them. I really disliked when the board told us that there was no plan B, that this was it. I do not think that is a democratic way to run an institution. I think that there should be quite a long consultation. And can we pay parents, our treasurers? I'm really, really concerned that we will lose a lot more than we will gain by this restructuring. And I think maybe it's just unique to our area. And I don't really know what the other areas do, but I know what we do, and it's a lot. And I can't see it being managed in the club and the cluster, which is a terrible word. It has to be hub. I mean, cluster is just a terrible word. In those two layers, I just can't see how all of our little area can get together to run the champs. There is no framework. There is no funding. There is no area funding. There will be no area funding. So it would be up to the clubs to try and run these things. So, yeah, I guess I have a lot of concerns. I'm really concerned about the time frame. I think we're being bulldozed. I'd like to see a longer consultation period, and I'd like to know why their reasoning is that there is no option B, because I don't see that updating the current constitution would be that difficult. So that's my say.
Thank you, Moira. And I'm really sorry, I am dropping in and out. You wouldn't think I live next to Mosgiel, that's for sure. Is Brooke Cameron online? Brooke, are you there?
Yeah,
Oh,
I am here, Charlotte.
Oh,
Thank
hi,
you.
Brooke. You will go.
No, I, honestly, following on from Maura, I've never met you before, but Holly, I don't think that's possible to even follow. I completely agree with everything you've just said. Yeah, really concerning about I've just joined Pony Club maybe 6 years ago, and until then, yeah, so I joined at the branch level at Wyndham Pony Club, and then went through to Southland, and then ended at the Otago Southland base from joining camp. 4 years ago, if you'd asked about no area, I would have been like, oh yeah, wouldn't have missed it. But now, having sat around that table with those people, I don't see how we would function without it. So much that I idea as a Pony Club member that was to keep us all ticking over. Just incredible. Yeah, really concerning. And with the time frame, I just would like to know, why we're not getting more consultation for it before getting this sent out. That's probably me.
Okay.
Thanks, Charlotte.
Thank you, Brooke. Now, is there anyone else who would like to speak?
Louise?
Louise? Okay.
Sorry,
Louise,
Charlotte?
you would like to speak?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is Louise.
So having had a chance.
Dunedin.
So as you're going to be collating some of this feedback, but one of the other things that would be quite interesting is what is it about the current constitutions that you think are functional and usable? I don't know. I mean, logistically and realistically, are they going to give us another constitution? If this is what they were saying in the seminars last week was that they would roll things out. So this is the national one that they have to get sorted. Then I think we've just seen that there's going to be some regional seminars. But I do agree with everyone. I think, what was it, the way forward from how many years ago when that we had all spent 30K and, got a bit messy with some of that consultation. But, what layers have we got? But I think we definitely need area, whether you looked at, say, removing the sort of district club, but we definitely need, and also the framework and the layers of authority. Even though we're a volunteer organisation, we know that when we've had to do some big events, we've all said, the branch will help the district, it helps the area. So we've still got to keep that vision as well and collaboration. But yes, when we do come time, if there's things about what is it about the current constitutions that you like or agree with, that's something to think about as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Louise. Does anyone else have anything they would like to add? I think it's fair to say that there is, from my understanding of going to the area forum and then listening to the debates last week or the webinars, that there does seem to be the impression that we are all overworked and that we're doubling up on that work. I don't know. I think we've heard from many past presidents, actually. I'm looking at presidents. I'm looking at Moira, who's a past president of area. Look, there is a lot of work involved in Pony Club. I'm not sure that taking a layer out reduces the amount of work. We put that work in order to make sure that our riders can compete on a national stage, that they can access everything that riders in Waikato can, or Franklin Thames Valley. We are the bottom of New Zealand, and we're a long way from anywhere. So we do have to work pretty hard to make sure that our riders have the opportunities. I don't work at club level, and I certainly know that we have very high functioning committees at area level who do a great job, actually. Our games riders are just going from strength to strength, as are many of our riders. So does anyone have any other points that they would like to add at this point?
I mean, I guess for me, there's going to be a lot of people with younger kids that think that area's sort of elephant. I think you need to look at what area does and say, going forward, how's that going to happen? I mean, I just can't see it happening. I don't know how the events are going to run. I don't know how the camp's going to run. I just don't know, without that layer of organisation, how on earth we can do it.
Yeah.
And those younger riders are going to miss out. Just
I think it's important to point out that in the last 5 years, Otago Southland have run New Zealand Pony Club eventing champs at Cromwell. Otago Southland built their course at Cromwell and subsequently gifted it to Central Otago, which is great. That was the whole purpose. We've also run Champs Week twice, 2022 and 2023. So we actually run quite a lot of high events and do a good job and have done a good job. I'm not sure if we would have signed up for another Champs Week, Jane, but in 2024, but we certainly are a high functioning area. And I appreciate that this change, this constitutional change, isn't just about Otago Southland, but our concern needs to be about our area and our riders and the opportunities for them going forward, especially if we make change. It needs to be positive. So anyone else like to contribute?
Jump in, Charlotte, if that was okay.
Yeah, go for it. Kelly?
Okay.
Just for those who don't know, Kelly is from Central Otago and she is a board member. And you are with the Clyde Pony Club, is that right?
Yeah, I'm with Clyde. I'm a head coach at Clyde Pony Club. I'm also on the Otago Southland Show Jumping Committee. And I have, in my recent stint, been involved with Pony Club for 12 years in Central Otago area, so through Manitoto and Clyde. So yeah, I was just thought it might be useful just to jump in and potentially just kind of clarify some some points that have been raised tonight. I know that there's obviously the timeline feels quite tight to quite a few people. It is a tight timeline. But this is our consultation phase now, and we're using all of that information that you're feeding back to Lizzie is going to the board, and it will be consultation. The consultation will be included in the board discussion, and that may mean alterations to the constitution that's proposed. We need feedback now. There is really no plan B. We've got to have a constitution voted on at the AGM on the 3rd of August. And after, depending on whatever the members want after that, there is still going to have to be a significant amount of constitutions drafted and written and approved and lodged by the 6th of April. We cannot, the current constitution, if we do nothing, or even the current constitution will have to be rewritten, even if we want the 4 layers, that will have to undergo a significant rewrite to be compliant with the Act. And yeah, there is a lot of work to be done, and we do have a short time frame. And that's why important. If you've got concerns or if you've got feedback, you need to get it to was it Louise? Louise, who can then get it to Lizzie, and then that can get into the feedback session that the board will have. So regardless of what happens, yeah, there could be, anywhere from, there could be around 184 constitutions that are all going to have to be drafted and submitted by that date from the 3rd of August. One of the other key things, I think it was raised earlier, like our members, our younger members, and that there seems to be a feeling that they will miss out on things, and will miss out on team events. That is definitely not the case. Everyone, like camps, you can run into cluster. I know the word cluster no one likes, but as yet no one has come up with anything better apart from maybe hub. So other than hub, get your thinking caps on and come up with whatever you guys want to call it. And how that's going to look is going to be different for every area. But if we've got a constitution that can allow that flexibility, well, then that's going to be beneficial for all members. The other concern I had around assets, well, at the end of the day, how everyone wants to deal with their assets is completely up to that organisation at the end of the day. If you want to, however you want to distribute it back to the members, to that committee or that organisation. There's no set. It's definitely not. I think that this is like a plunket where New Zealand Club is grabbing all the assets. That is not true. So yeah, however you want to do the assets is up to you guys, and New Zealand Pony Club can help facilitate that for you, or you can do it yourself, or whatever is best. Yeah. The other thing I have events like intercluster of camps, coaching can still be run. Events that can all still be run. How it looks is probably more a general regs issue rather than a constitution issue. So that would have to be dealt with after the constitution is approved. But there's still opportunity for camps, events that's still on the table. Just bearing in mind that they're obviously after this year, there was always going to be a review of events and what needs to be done there. So, so that's about basically all I have to say there.
Thank you, Kelly. It's great to have a board member present to answer those questions. It is, of course, worth mentioning as well when it comes to assets. For example, Otago Southland Pony Club currently has a combined bank balance of around 45,000, which is significant. We have that money for a lot of reasons, just to send our delegates to conferences every year is about 10,000. And to send a team to the North Island, it can be 20,000. So we do carry a lot of money in our account. And I think it is a concern for our members that that money stays secure and stay with our members. Yeah. Does anyone else have anything they would like to bring up? No. Megan, can you pop Louise's email up on screen? Really important. Louise is collating feedback for NZPCA. I think the important thing is there is consultation that's happening with, I think, Otago Southland is the first area to be consulted, so that's nice. We look forward to that. As Kelly said, the time frame is very short. I think we've all known about this change in the impending Incorporated Societies Act for about 2.5 years, so it does feel a little hurried, but 3rd of August will be the vote. So it's really important. I encourage all our members to get on and read everything they can, read the Constitution and form opinions and talk to each other about it. There is no such thing as a silly question or a silly answer. So please email Louise Lawrence, lulaw22@gmail.com, with any questions, concerns, or issues you might have. If you are talking about the Constitution specifically, can you please highlight what part of the new Constitution that you're referring to, just to help Louise keep everything coherent and easy to understand? I think, as I said...
Can I just ask one question, Charlotte?
Yes, Megan.
Just for some of the newer ones that may be on, are you able to give us a bit of an idea of what other physical assets Otago Southland hold? I know there's the games equipment. Is there anything else?
Otago Southland actually only holds a bank deposit, which is sizable, and the games trailer, which I believe is valued around 20,000. Now that trailer, as I think I mentioned, travels around the whole area, servicing all our games, teams and riders for events. Many assets are held at club level. I know that most clubs own cross-country jumps, and I guess those are physical assets that are very hard to move. Yes, you can move cross-country jumps, but actually I see that they will remain, I guess, in the cluster. I don't know, but it's pretty hard to pick up and move a cross-country course. So I guess that will be absorbed into whatever the cluster may look like in the future. And as yet, we don't know what those clusters will look like. Yeah.
You also have all the area uniforms
yes.
for the riders and the horse covers and all that type of thing, and the badges that they get when they are on an area team.
Thank you, Diane. Yes, we have a whole spare bedroom full of uniforms, covers, everything.
Saddle blankets, hat covers.
Yeah. And many of those items...
Sorry, a good number of trophies the area holds as well.
Yes, there are a number of trophies. Also worth mentioning too that we went through a significant rebrand with some clip art. How many years ago? 5 years ago, 4 years ago, where area and many clubs have actually reinvested in badges. And I know it sounds little, but these things cost an absolute fortune. So we have gone through a significant rebrand for those items.
Quite recently.
Yeah.
Because if they're looking at changing the regions that you're going to be representing, that's a whole set of uniforms. It's a whole set of rebranding again.
Yeah. And just, a shot of reality, just saying, hey, go and apply for funding. It's out there. It's actually not. The funding is not out there. It's actually pretty tight. I know from all of our committees who have been applying for funding, there's not as much money around our area as there have been in previous years.
Correct.
Charlotte, do you mind if I say something?
Go for it, Jane.
To start off with, I'm pretty annoyed that this has been pushed on us without any clear consultation. It's just dictatorship, really.
I agree.
There's no clear definition of how it's going to work, how the classes are going to work. It's and they've actually given us no advantage of how they're going to work. So if we are all going to go to clusters, what advantage is it going to give us our riders as to now? Are we improving? And that really annoys me. So I'm just this tight timeline. As Kelly said, we've got no plan B. We've got plan A. We also said if we did plan B, go back to the old way, a lot of work. So is it them getting out of that lot of work? They want to do this clean, easy way? I don't know. But we really need more information. And if this does, what happens? Have they answered that question? Because there's a lot of disconcerting going on there.
On the YouTube, it said that there would be no organisation.
There'd be no organisation, full stop.
That's what it said on the YouTube presentation too.
Yes.
I was, sorry, Louise again. I'm having another look at the content, and this is something I'll write in, but Kelly, it might be quite useful to the board, because you look at some of the regulation, say, for instance, associate membership, it can be any organisation, including a company, incorporated society, or incorporated trust. Well, that's like us competing against a charity if we're competing against a company. So it'd be useful, and that's something I don't know if other people have seen or thought about, what does this actually mean? I mean, it's probably as a way for, it's the new way for the riding centres, but it is interesting why is a commercial company going to be able to be a member, but then is that the riding centres because they are commercial? And then how does some of our intellectual property get protected, and or, if we can't offer, sometimes we've got members who, even quibble about paying for a lesson, but, then you're going off to a riding centre where you're getting charged $100, I don't know, what are we missing out on?
This might be where Pony Club's sitting. Is that why Charlotte told me I had to be part of this meeting? I'm not sure.
The other one I wondered about too, Kelly, was, and I'll send this in, but some of it seems inconsistent, that it almost sounds like the ability to maintain a register on that is falling back on a branch, whereas in the past, when we did the reshuffle back in 2011 or 2012, that was a thing. We all had the same constitutions for our branches and our districts. So there wasn't, because to me, the board shouldn't have to be looking at 180 constitutions. Basically, you have a template branch and district constitution to get us over the line with the Incorporated Societies Act. And then, you don't have that, Waikato is going to have a different constitution to us, because that just leads to a bit of, there's no consistency in it. So some of these clauses just with membership and the registrar just seem a bit interesting, and they seem to be doubling up, but maybe it's just the way I'm reading it.
So the associate member clause, Louise, is written like very vague and generally like that, as that has come out of not only the probably the Act, but also the Sport New Zealand template.
Yeah.
It pretty much is just designed to allow flexibility, but for those centre members, there's no way a corporate is going to become a member of New Zealand Pony Club because they have to have an interest in pony club activities. When you read that whole definition together, I think further up that whole clause, that whole policy is such, there has to be, they have to have that interest as such in pony club activities.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just written like that for like flexibility.
Yep.
Basically.
Cool.
Okay.
As long because as people know our past history, as long as a corporate never takes priority, just as a charity can take priority over us rich people that own horses, so that our pony club branches never sort of lose what's the word, the strengths that they have because someone comes along with more resources and charitable status or company status as well, because there's things that they can do there. But no, that's all good. Thank you, Kelly.
Yeah, there are some other equestrian organisations that actually do have charitable status. For example, some hunts.
Yep.
So yeah, don't really know if consistency has been applied to that all the way across, but it's out of our kind of realm as such. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Louise. Thank you, Kelly. I guess we'll look at wrapping up. Thank you to everyone. We've had up to 45 people on this call, and I have an entire phone full of people who couldn't get on, so I don't know why that is. My apologies. We will be putting this recording up somehow when someone tells me how to do that. I think it is really important. We must go back to our branches and our clubs and discuss this openly. Otago Southland area is full of amazing clubs and amazing branches who actually are very high functioning. If you look at the successes our riders have had, we have pulled together, all of our rural communities have pulled together and have really provided for our riders very well. And I think that has been a real strength that we've had. So thank you all for attending, and please keep talking and keep sending your feedback to Louise, please.
So Charlotte, sorry to button. Can we go back to that timeline slide?
Timeline?
Yep.
Yeah, just one other thing I just want to say about that too, Charlotte, is this is really hard and really difficult to work this out. Like, we'd love to come and say, this is what we're going to do. Bang, bang, bang. We'd love to be able to, well, we wouldn't love, but, it'd be easy. It'd be easy to do that. But it's not easy. We're trying to get a system that fits everyone in Pony Club throughout New Zealand, and that's what makes it so tricky and so difficult. And that's why we can't actually say at this point in time what a cluster may or may not look like. We have tried to put examples out there, but at the end of the day, the real, the final actual model may look different to that. So it is hard. That's just something that I will say about that.
So say, Kelly, if we've got this timeline and and you see the timeline and got the clusters and the clubs and the different constitutions. So it's not to say, once you put these into place, then there's fine tuning down the line next year and the year after, if AGMs and SGMs have to be held when some things come to light that aren't working. That would be what the board would be looking at.
Yeah. We're going to try our very best to try and get it right, but at the end of the day, we're only one part of the puzzle. Like, our members are the key part of this, and we're trying to our very best to get it right for them. So yeah, there could be that, definitely that possibility, Louise. But
Yep.
yeah, we are going to try first up, and this is why this consultation. We want to hear from everyone. We want to hear from, the people that, have just got the lead rein riders starting out. We want to hear right through to the people that are doing their A's, and actually, get this incorporated now.
If it's a true membership voting thing, then why is it so hard to not have a plan B, and that we bring ourselves up to compliance with the regulation, with the plan to look at the restructure at a stage, like at a 2-year phase, and give us more time? Like, you could have plan A and plan B and let the members vote on that.
Yeah, we have thought about that, like that has been discussed, and yeah, I've thought about that, but we just don't have the time, we don't have the time or the resources. Like, we're board members, we're volunteer board writing this constitution. It's been, of hours and hours, and this is why we're trying to get patient in place now, that the plan B will be in July based on what the members want, because we're undertaking the consultation now rather than write a whole plan B. We can't do that. Like, we can obviously write a status constitution will be completely different to what the constitution are, because, like I say, the constitution doesn't going to comply
But with the greatest, with the greatest respect, though, every sporting organisation is going through the same. Every sporting organisation is going through the same change. So this isn't unique to New Zealand Pony Club. This is national. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. So it's not, just the board at NZPCA going through this. This is actually, there are other.
Is there anyone or organisation?
I was wondering, involved with a few other institutions and that's the only.
Completely rewritten.
So,
ACN have rewritten a fair chunk of the institution. Our question, this is but sport. We've taken a start so of the sport plate. Any of the sport are going to be following Sport New Zealand plate. I've been and I can see their one, and it is a lot different to what it was existing.
Sorry, Kelly, I've got one more question for you. So in 5 years' time, if this is successful, what does success look like for the board under the new model if it goes ahead? Like, how will you genuinely measure that it's empowered route riders, like you're saying?
Well, the success will probably come from actually Pony Club being able to do what you guys as members and let's just say clusters or hubs or whatever, you're able to function more efficiently, basically, and do all what you're doing now, and the members are still actually have still got that grassroots contact on what we're delivering for them, where it all begins. That's basically, and we obviously haven't got parameters at the current point in time that we use, because it is quite hard. How do you measure it? I don't know. Yeah, it would be quite tricky to obviously measure it at the moment. what parameters we would use, but we obviously have exit surveys and things like that, and we do surveys, so we would obviously continue to roll them out. But other than that, we don't have a significant amount of significant amount of tools to use at this current point in time to know if this is going to be successful. But I think we'll have a fairly good idea as such, if we're still delivering what we're delivering to our members now, basically.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we've just clocked over the hour, so I think we'll wrap up.
Thank you, Kelly.
Yeah, thank you, Kelly. Thank you very much. And thank you
okay.
to all the 45 people who have joined, and to the ones that haven't, I'm sorry. I think we do have on the 16th, we have our NZPCA consultation with area. In the meantime, I just would like everyone to go back and discuss what we've talked about, what has been talked about, talk to your committees about it, see what you think, talk to people, and learn as much as you can. I think that robust conversation, as I said, is a positive, and the more you know, the more you have the choice to make for your vote, because everyone will vote. All of your branches will vote. Your clubs will vote on your behalf, and area will also vote. So it is important that people engage in the process. I think you'd agree with that, Kelly. And, we need to make sure that what we do have in place is damn good to go forward. So thank you, everyone. We'll call this meeting finished.
Sorry, Charlotte, deadline.
Deadline. Oh, a deadline from
what is? Well, we've got Easter. I've got a day job. But yeah, if people could start sending me information, and then if we've got Easter, and then so I'd probably want things sort of the final lot of information to me by the Monday, the 28th of April.
So I think the important thing is we get our views to Louise and our questions as soon as we can. There is also a box online that you can fill in. It only takes 200 characters. So I'm sorry, once you get on a tirade, you literally have to write about 6 boxes because it knocks you off every 200 characters. But I'm sure if you're putting any of your thoughts and comments through Louise, they will still get there. So thank you very much, everyone. We'll call that a night, and I'm happy to hear from anyone who wants to ring me and talk to me. And I'm also happy to put any of your concerns forward. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charlotte.
Good night.
Thanks, Charlotte.
No worries.